There are different types of DNA tests that you can take, and they each have benefits and or pluses and minuses. So we'll talk a little bit about those. The first and most commonly known is the autosomal DNA test, which also has kind of a subset of xDNA that you can get at certain companies. There's a Y-DNA test and a mitochondrial DNA test. And these are the three basic tests that are used for genealogical or family history research. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail. So autosomal DNA basically is good for about 5 to 8 generations on both sides, but not every, I think you can document second cousins for sure with DNA and third cousins, but as they get further and further away, you will have many cousins that you won't share DNA with just because of what's called recombination. And so as your DNA gets cut in half each generation, some of your cousins won't get the same pieces that you got. And so it really takes a lot of cousins to paint a whole picture of a particular ancestor, and when you're looking for that common ancestor that you share. Centimorgan is a word that you'll hear all the time because that is how they measure that genetic distance. And the larger pieces or the more centimorgans you share, the closer the distance, and the less or the smaller segments, the further away they will generally be. And so you'll have to have some sort of understanding of that, but just keep in mind that lots of centimorgans is good, and less means that they're much more distant relative, and you need more of those to prove anything that you're looking for. xDNA is basically a subset of that autosomal DNA, but it can be helpful in cases where you can determine it. At certain companies, they show that. And if you're looking at chromosomes, you can see that. But I like xDNA because it has definitive patterns of inheritance. Females can inherit it from both of their parents, whereas males inherit from their mother only. So if you share a significant portion of xDNA, then it can eliminate many lines of where you might be related. So I always look for that as an option to give me clues when I'm looking for information or places to research. The Y-DNA test follows a patrilineal or direct father's line, and it's passed only from father to son. It's really good if you're trying to confirm surnames or variations or changes, or maybe it's not at all. And it allows you to also join surname projects if you know what you're looking for. I would say Y-DNA, for the people that I have recommended it to, in most cases has been helpful, but I've even had some cases where it has been absolutely no use because not enough people on those lines had tested. But I always think it's worthwhile, if you're looking up the father's line, to find somebody who has tested or will test, and I'll give an example of that. Whereas autosomal DNA, they will tell you, or they measure it in centimorgans. Y-DNA, you'll get what's called a haplogroup, and that's just basically a designation by a genetic population or a group of people who share a common ancestor. Y-DNA goes very, very far back in time. It's pretty stable and has very slow changing variations, unlike autosomal DNA. Mitochondrial DNA goes up the mother's line, and it's passed from mother to all of her children. So a son could take a mitochondrial DNA test and be able to also go up the mother's line. And it's stable for thousands of years, like for 1 to 50 generations, you're going to share a common ancestor. The problem with mitochondrial DNA is that women's surnames typically change every generation, so it can be a little bit more difficult. However, even one good match in there can make a big difference. When I was working with one of my sisters looking for her biological parents, I had her test for mitochondrial DNA, and she only had one match, but it was a great match. That one match helped me to determine which side of the family I was looking for, and helped me go up and then come back down